life. Won't you make my life thrilling and tell me you're willing to be mine, Rosalie, mine.
Lester Dean Lester, ladies and gentlemen, radio guide and the camera expert. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you have no serious objections, I'd like to conduct a little experiment at this point. You see, some expert has just burst into print with a statement that radio audiences listen with only half their mind, and consequently have only a vague idea of what they hear.
Well, you think you can change all that, Fred?
No, Harry. All I want to do is to prove or disprove it. Now, if I can just get someone within the range of these tired eyes, this gentleman here in the front row. Do you listen regularly to this program, sir?
Every chance I get.
My public. Would you mind stepping up to the microphone just a second, sir?
Glad to.
Thank you. Now, will you tell me in your own words what Mr. Von Zell says every week about Ipana toothpaste?
Well, I'll try. Let's see. He recommends Ipana toothpaste and massage, and my dentist backs him up on it, too. He says you can help keep your teeth bright and sparkling with the regular use of Ipana. And I think he makes a very good point when he says that the soft, creamy foods we eat don't give our gums enough work to do. But if we massage our gums every day with Ipana toothpaste, we can give them the exercise they need to help keep them firm and healthy. I guess that just about covers everything. Well, Fred, this gentleman sort of knocks your expert theory into a cocked hat, doesn't he? Well, of course, Mr. Von Zell, I've been using Ipana for a couple of years now, and just lately with one of those new double-duty toothbrushes, so I've had plenty of chance to check up on your statements. Maybe that's why I remember them so well. Well, whatever the reason is, we're very indebted to you, sir. Not at all, Mr. Von Zell. Oh, there's one more thing I didn't mention.
Well, maybe we better leave that for Harry. He might feel slighted if we didn't. Go ahead, Harry.
Well, I don't know. All that's left for me to say is since brighter teeth and healthier gums naturally mean a far more attractive smile, ladies and gentlemen, always remember Ipana for the smile of beauty. Town Hall tonight will continue immediately following a short pause for your station identification.
Peter and Van Steeden and the Ipana Troubadours have just played part of I'm Feeling Like a Million. We started our new service a few weeks ago, ladies and gentlemen. You know, on all of the hour programs, right in the middle, where the announcer says, this is station so-and-so and so-and-so, the music always sort of dies out, and for a few brief seconds, you miss part of the tune. So week after week now, we are going to give you back the few little bars of music you missed when the announcer speaks in our program. Will you play the few strains there, Peter, for us, please? Thank you very much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you fit that back into the part you heard before the announcer spoke, you have I'm Feeling Like a Million. Now, on Friday night, the Port Jervis String Ensemble will...
Do you mind if I interrupt, Mr. Allen?
Why, no, Portland. Into each life, some rain must fall, unless one lives in Palm Springs, of course.
Or unless one is an old maid.
What has an old maid to do with no rain falling in her life?
If an old maid never gets married, she never gets a shower, does she?
Tub or shower as long as she's healthy. What is this?
Well, I've got a big surprise for you tonight, Mr. Allen.
Big surprise? Now, look, Portland, this is the day of digest publications, concentrated foods, and capsule criticism. Couldn't you sense the trend and show up with a little surprise?
But this is the biggest thing you've had on the program this year.
Hello again for the fourth time. Now, look, Portland, a thing on the program we don't need. Stuff I don't mind, but not a thing.
But, Mr. Allen, it isn't a thing. This is an old friend of yours from the days of vaudeville.
If it's Otto the Train Seal, throw him a fish and tell him I'm busy.
Now, wait a minute, Fred. If you'll just take your nose, that one you used to talk through, out of that microphone, you'll see that it's me.
Oh, Jack. Jack Benny. Well, wait a minute. There's a reception goes in there.
Well, it doesn't happen. I was worried there for a minute.
Well, you've been on 4 times. If you took a little bit each time, it's better you get it all at once like this. Let it pile up. Well, I'm terribly sorry, Jack. I didn't notice you. How long have you been standing there?
Since 8 o'clock this morning. They've been using me instead of the bull of a watch time.
Say, Jack, did Mary come along with you?
No, Porty. She wanted to come over, but she's busy with her Christmas shopping.
Christmas shopping?
Yeah, right now she's over at Bullock's Wilshire putting me through bank.
That gives me an idea. Tally ho, Jack.
So long, Porty.
Well, Jack, this is quite a surprise, you dropping in. I didn't know you were going to be here tonight.
I didn't know it either, Fred, until I heard you announce it 5 times last week. But don't get me wrong, Freddie. I appreciate that build-up. I'm one guy who knows that it pays to advertise.
Now, listen here, Benny. If that's a hint, you're not getting 1 cent for crawling in here tonight, and you know it.
Why, Fred, I didn't expect to get paid for this. I haven't any more right to take money for working on this program than you have. You for a while there.
Now, those armchair jokes, they'll hold you for a while. Now, hold on there, Benny. That's an insult.
Well, if I was Professor Quiz, I'd say correct. Absolutely correct.
And if I was Major Bowes, you'd have left with a unit 10 minutes ago.
Hey, that's nice work if you can get it. You know, Freddie, I wouldn't mind being back in vaudeville again, though, would you?
Ah, those were the good old days.
Yes, sir. Say, Fred, no kidding, will you ever forget the time you and I were together at the Orpheum Theater in Sioux City, Iowa?
Yep. Only I was on the stage.
I don't care, Freddie. I made more money selling peanuts in one day than you did all week.
Well, Jack, I didn't make much money in those days, but I was a pretty good juggler. Remember how I used to toss those Indian clubs in the air and do a funny monologue at the same time?
I sure do. And, Fred, you remember when you dropped those clubs? How you'd let them lay there right alongside of your joke? Yep.
Well, you ought to know. You swept up the theater every night.
I did not. I used to stay in the theater late just to practice my violin.
Well, you should have stuck to your broom.
I should have stuck to my own program, too. I had to ask for this yet, huh?
Well, you had to write it yet to insult yourself.
Well, Fred, anyway, a lot of water has gone over the Don since then, huh?
Over the Don?
Yes, Fred, you know how careful we have to be. But just think, Freddie, just think, here we are, both in Hollywood and both of us in pictures.
It does seem unreasonable, doesn't it?
Of course, Fred, maybe I shouldn't point this out, but I do make a lot more pictures than you do.
Well, Jack, there's so little of you in each one, you have to make more.
Oh, is that why they do it? I'm glad you brought that up. How do you like pictures, Fred?
Fine, Jack. I just finished one called Sally, Irene, and Mary. I'm leaving for New York next week.
Oh, they're releasing you instead of the picture.
Now, Benny, if you're here to drip venom, heed your promiscuous spattering, and remember that retribution is the trailer that follows oral pollution.
Alan, you're just lucky I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, I had a hunch you were going back east, Fred, and that's why I came up here to see you. Have you decided which way you're going back? I mean, which form of transportation?
Well, I was going to take the boat and go through Panama, but I've got a hat, so I decided to take the train.
Well, Fred, of course, I don't want to influence you one way or the other, but have you ever thought of driving back east? You know, by automobile.
What kind of an automobile?
Now, don't rush me. And it's in good condition, too. No kidding. Would you like to drive back home, Freddie?
No, Jack. I'll stick to the chief.
Well, if you'd rather hang around with Indians.
But the chief is a train, as you will find out when you finish your next picture, Mr. Benny. Say, what are you trying to get at, anyway?
Well, Fred, I own a Maxwell. And I thought that
You don't think you can palm that tin nightmare off on me, I hope. Why, I wouldn't be found dead in that car.
Say, you're no better than the engine.
Why, the engine in that steam cabinet is so dead, the front wheels are nothing but rubber. Where is that uncovered wagon?
It's right outside the door. Hey, boys.
Yes, Mr. Benny.
Will you drive my Maxwell in, please?
Oh, sure.
Now, be careful, fellas. It's a high-powered car there, you know. Right in here, boys. Right in here.
Well, you want us to leave it right here, Mr. Benny?
Yes, thanks, fellas.
Hey, what's that noise?
Noise? I'll cut off the motor so we can hear it.
That's better.
Yes.
Hey, Mr. Benny, I guess this belongs to you.
Oh, the door. Yes, thanks.
I went to close it, and it came off in my hand.
Well, you can stick it back on with a little new skin, Jack. Say, what's that bottle of scotch doing tied on the front?
That's for the radiator on New Year's Eve.
It looks like the car's got a hangover already. Benny, you may not be a snake in the grass, but you're sure hanging around with a rattler there.
That's libel, Alan. And if I had my writers here, what we'd call you be a four-bell rag.
Say, what's the... Say, who started it? Say, what was that? Did the engine drop out?
No, Smarty, it's the new sunken motor. And listen to this horn. That note is by Stokowski.
Well, how is the car on gas?
Well, I get about 4 miles to the quart. If I insist, of course.
If you put your foot down.
Yes.
Well, how much does that make to the gallon?
Well, I never put in a gallon. I don't believe in spoiling a car. You know how it is with gas tanks. Easy come, easy go. Well, Alan, what do you say?
Well, now that I've had a good look at this bear trap, Jack, I know why the Maxwell people went into the coffee business.
Now, Freddie, I'm not begging you to take this car, only I thought, well, you walk all the time. You're not getting any younger. I think you ought to take your varicose veins out for a spin once in a while.
What are you asking for this rhapsody and junk?
I'm asking $95 FOB.
FOB?
For old Benny. How about it, Fred?
Say, if you don't know, laughing at your next Sunday show already. I can't wait. If you don't know...
I'd give $1,000 if I could think of an answer right now.
If you don't know by now that I don't want that car, you ought to have your skull bent.
All right, Fred, as long as you don't want to buy it, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll wrap it in cellophane, tie a big red ribbon around it, and give it to you for Christmas. How's that?
If I wake up Christmas morning and find that monstrosity in my stocking, I'll go barefooted the rest of my life.
That would be nothing new for you, you hillbilly. So you don't even want it for a present, huh?
I don't want it present, past, the future. You can take that animated skillet...
All right, Fred, all right. I merely wanted to be a good fellow, that's all. If you don't want the car, and I think you don't, I'll be on my way. No hard feelings, I hope.
No, Jack, I haven't anything against you, not Benny the man.
No.
I'm just not in the market, that's all. I hope I didn't offend you.
Oh, no, Freddie, I'll just have to sell it to some other guy. Well, Merry Christmas, old boy.
Same to you, Jack, and good luck.
Thanks, Freddie. Goodbye.
Hey, what was that, Jack?
That's what my car thinks of you, Alan.